Hi, this is Kimberly. This is a synopsis and critique of Chapter 20 of the book Letters from Christopher, Tragic Confessions of the Watts Family Murders by Cheryln Cadle. This chapter is titled Recovering the Bodies. The first thing I notice is a typo. CERVI 319 is listed as CERVI 219 twice in this chapter. But the CERVI Ranch, where CERVI 319 is listed, the CERVI Ranch is a cattle ranch in rural Weld County with several oil and gas wells leased to Anadarko Petroleum, which used to be Ignoramus's employer. I bet they are proud, probably why they sold the company a few months later to Chevron. The well site is accessed via several dirt roads and is in a remote area with rolling hills, sagebrush, cactus, and other vegetation. Cadle partially described the area as, quote, "If you listen closely, there were almost whispers of something hidden beneath. That's creepy, a little bit unseemly, don't you think? Or it could be me. I've been told I am a hypersensitive prude at times." But I do want to say, although Cadle used discovery for this chapter, she seems to have put a little of it into her own words. I can tell when she worked on a chapter and one where she did the copy all paste shit. At least she skipped around on copying from the discovery, as there were several people doing reports from that dreadful day. If she had copied and pasted the whole damn thing of reports regarding the recovery of bodies, this chapter would have been ridiculously long, as everyone had their own version that they had to report on. So she cherry-picked from some of them. Hey, I'm giving her credit where credit is due. 2 CBI agents met with an Anadarko employee to search the area of CERVI 319, or as the author referred to it, CERVI 219. Firestone Police Department commander and a detective responded to the scene as well. Many others responded to the scene that day and later as the night went on, but I'm not going to list all of them. Mrs. Cadle does list most of them in the chapter, but many are only by their titles. Upon arrival at the well site, a drone was deployed to survey the well site at 3:30 p.m. In the book, the drone is called, quote, Unmanned Aerial System, SUAS, parentheses. I didn't know what in the hell she was talking about, but from what I gathered from my Google search is a fancy way of saying drone. It was not called this flamboyant name in Discovery, so I don't know where this came from. Also, Ariel, the way she spelled it, was misspelled. She used Ariel as in the mermaid, A-R-I-E-L, not as in happening or operating in the air. Upon completing a mind-numbing, long, drawn-out search, I did find Unmanned Aerial System Drone on Agent Matthew Saylor's synopsis on Discovery page 482. Ariel, A-R-I-A-L. But anyway, the drone provided a real-time video feed and took still photographs. Fairly soon they located what appeared to be a sheet lying on the ground. Cadle says, quote, the agent hovered over the white fabric and requested the other agent to walk out to where the fabric was to see if he could determine what it was. An eerie feeling felt all around them. Somehow they knew something was not right. I'm sure an eerie feeling did fall upon them, but how does she know this? A CBI agent and a detective approached the bed sheet to an area that appeared to have been recently disturbed. It was determined that the fitted sheet found in the field was a match to the one in the kitchen trash at the Watts residence. They also located 2 black garbage bags with red drawstrings in the field near the sheet. Chapter 20 goes on to explain the findings from the drone. The bed sheet, an area of ground that had been visibly disturbed, the head of a rake, and later the handle of the rake. The chapter continues to give details of the CERVI 319 area as seen by drone and on foot. Just after the drone search, they were given information that Chris Watts had confessed to the murders of his family and that the bodies were disposed somewhere near the oil site where they were. They soon afterwards received the picture that Chris had marked with initials. With this new information, they redeployed the drone and took several more detailed pictures of the oil tanks and of the area where Shenan'S was presumed to be buried. CBI's crime scene unit arrived on scene and requested that they take more photos of the oil storage tanks and a video of the entire scene. The police identified the freshly moved dirt and went about extracting Shenan'S body from the makeshift grave. During the recovery process, the agents made attempts to preserve any evidence that may have been present but not visible at the time. Cadle wrote in the book, quote, "They removed her body from the scene around midnight. Shenan'S body was so decomposed that they could not identify her by the pictures they had, but because of Christopher telling authorities where he buried her, they felt sure it was her," end quote. Okay, the part where Cadle said Shenan'S body was so decomposed that they could not identify her by the pictures they had, I did not find the statement in the discovery. Not to say I wasn't there, but the only thing I found was, quote, 2300 hours, we located the body of an adult female, which we believed to be Shenan'n. The body was decomposing and was removed at about 010 hours. This was from Discovery page 81 from Officer Coonrod. I also found from her autopsy in Discovery page 1003, quote, "The body exhibits mild to moderate decomposition," end quote. She's trying to make everything sound even more horrific than it already was, exaggerating the state of Shenan'S body when it was found, grossly exaggerated, and her damn dark spirits bullshit and malevolent forces horseshit. She's trying to put shit in there that's not there. Please see that, and all that shit's not true. Most of what she says is not true, unless it's directly copy-pasted, which, well, a lot of that is, so, okay. But the shit she comes up with on her own is not true. I am including this part from Discovery page 484, so you all will know what this abomination did to his wife. Quote, "The portion of Shenan'S body closest to the surface was located approximately 3 inches below the surface. The body was laying face down in a kneeling-type position, with her head facing in a westerly direction, and in a declining position deeper into the ground from her lower torso. Shenan'S arms were outstretched in front of her, and her feet were pulled up underneath and behind her. After Shenan'S body was removed, they dug around the grave site looking for the blankets and stuffed animals. Of course, nothing was found." Let me get away from the book for a bit while I go on a bit of a rant. This bonehead called Chris Watts had sent law enforcement on a flipping wild goose chase for the girls' blankies and stuffed animals. There were none of these to be found in the fields at CERVI 319. This is what prompted this search. Discovery page 483. Quote, "Chris stated he left some of the girls' clothing and some toys wrapped in the sheet that we had located," end quote. This is from the CBI agent. Quote, "Search of CERVI 319, the road leading to CERVI 319, search of CERVI 1029 and CERVI 1129 for missing blankets and toys from the house. Watts stated he left these items on CERVI 319, but the initial search of the area did not recover them," unquote. This was not in the book, but I can see this for myself. How much freaking manpower did Chris Watts waste by lying about the blankets and toys? He's such an asshole, worthless waste of space. I see from the discovery that they searched and searched and searched. Several hours, several people, several days. Because this deceiving imbecile lied, he sent law enforcement on a foolish and hopeless quest for something that was freaking not there. In the February 2018 Wisconsin interview, he finally admitted to throwing the items away, including his old clothes and the Yankees blanket, away in a construction dumpster in his subdivision, right before he got home to meet police that fateful day. In the discovery, I found this from a sergeant with Frederick Police Department. On Friday, August 24th, 2018, I did an area search of the 6500 block of Black Mesa Road, particularly at 6507 Black Mesa Road, because police had information that Chris Watts was at this address for several minutes. The general contractor explained that the dumpsters are emptied every Thursday, but if needed, the trash company would come on Tuesdays as well. Later in the day, it was confirmed that the dumpster was emptied on August 16th and the contents were taken to the Erie landfill. This is also from Discovery, as I want to show how much time was wasted because the dimwit lied. And again, a search on August 21st, 2018 from the CBI. Quote, second search of CERVI 319, search of 1029 and 1129 on CERVI Ranch for blankets and toys. Search of CERVI 319, the road leading to CERVI 319. Search of CERVI 1029 and CERVI 1011 for missing blankets and toys from the house. Watts stated he left these items on CERVI 319, but the initial search of the area did not recover them. End quote. Why didn't Cadle put this in the book to explain where the blankets and toys went that the children supposedly had? In fact, she only mentions the blankets and stuffed animals in the part about them digging around Shenan'S gravesite after she was exhumed. It just pisses me off because I feel like it was a huge part of the investigation, in that it wasted so much time and resources, both in staff and financial. I don't get the feeling that the author did very much, if any, research for this book, other than looking at Discovery and talking to Chris Watts. Before we go back to the book that I'm supposed to be reviewing, I found this captivating little account in the Discovery while I was getting carried away with my research of blankets. This is from Discovery, page 641. Quote, we were able to locate an area of ground which appeared to be recently disturbed, as well as tire tracks on the south side of the holding tanks. We used a shovel to carefully scrape off top layers of dirt. We discovered what appeared to be paper towels along with what appeared to be excrement. Nothing else was located in the area. We then proceeded to CERVI 1129 and searched this location on foot. We did not locate any items of evidentiary value. End quote. You know, Chris Watts really is an asshole, low-life, dirtbag moron piece of shit. He really is an animal, shitting in nature just like that. What a nice thing to find while looking for deceased children's treasured blankets and their stuffed animal toys. Alright, back to the book. The next morning at 5 a.m., CBI contacted CSP Hazardous Materials Section to assist in recovering Bella and Cece from the crude oil tanks. An Anadarko employee met with everyone on scene to talk about the plan to offload both crude oil tanks and on-site safety. The East Tank battery to be offloaded into tanker trucks, which took approximately 6 hours due to the oil being methodically drained into a metal pan and then pumped into the tanker trucks through a filter. The book goes on to detail the hazmat procedures and entry to the tank to recover Celeste. She was wearing a pink nightgown and a pull-up diaper. A lot of this part in the chapter was copied from Tammy Lee's report, Discovery, page 617. And to be fair, one does not want to get this technical stuff wrong. I would have done the same. The hazmat workers were then sprayed down by fire personnel to remove as much crude oil as possible, while the Weld County coroner used several crude oil absorbent pads on Cece to remove as much oil as possible. The next tank had less crude oil in it and was pumped off quicker than the first tank. When a trooper went to the top of that tank and looked into the thief hatch, he said he could see another body that appeared to be face up. The book then goes on to describe the recovery efforts of Bella. The hazmat team was again decontaminated, and the area was cleaned and contaminated equipment placed in a large tarp for a cleanup contractor to take care of contaminated items. Cadle ended the chapter with this, quote, it was said later that many of the people who worked on the rescue team to recover the 3 bodies needed therapy afterward, end quote. In a separate video, I have read a Denver Post article from August 11th, 2019. It's about PTSD suffered by Frederick Police Detective Dave Baumhover. Also mentioned are CBI agent Tammy Lee and DA Michael Rourke, and the lasting trauma they have faced. And that will be the end of this video. I'll pick up chapter 21 in the next one. Much love and peace. Thank you for listening.